So what do we do with all those terms? What does that tell us about how we gain knowledge of the world? Kant believed that there is, in fact, an external world. Kant believed that the external world exists, okay? So there is, in fact, something out there like trees, okay? We view the world with our senses. We view, we touch, we hear, we smell, we taste. And as a result, we get ideas about the world. The information we get from our senses is just raw data. Okay? I get information from my sensory organs, but that information is just raw data. That raw data has to be translated. It has to be processed through a conceptual processor. This is, what I draw here is, of course, anybody's guess what we want to call it. But the idea is that it is something that takes the information that we have, our raw data, and it translates it into something we can understand. Kant called it the manifold of space and time. So I think of it as a sieve, okay? So I think of it as a sifter, a screen, okay? A sieve. And the information from the external world goes into that sieve, goes through that sieve, that conceptual processor, and then into our ideas, our minds. My idea of the world is a product of the raw data being processed through the manifold of space and time. Think about a film camera, okay? Do we all remember what film cameras are? Okay, we take a camera, runs with regular film. You point it at something, you hit the button, the shutter opens, right? Light enters and makes an impression on the film. When that film is turned into a picture, it looks just like the world. And when you process the film and you look up at the negative, it looks almost just like what we saw, right? What we were trying to take a picture of. It's, of course, what we call a negative because of the way we process it. But in large terms, what you see is what you get, right? The image from the world has made an impression on the film. What you see is what you get. That's our empiricist, Kant, Locke, Hume. What you see is what you get. But Kant is more like a digital camera. Take a digital camera, you point it towards your scene, you press your button, the shutter opens. Well, what happens inside the camera is all in zeros and ones. There's no film that an impression is made on. It saves it in zeros and ones. And those zeros and ones are then translated into something we can understand when it appears on our little screen on the camera, or when we take the SD card and we stick it in the computer and we look at the pictures on the computer. They're zeros and ones. but the picture appears as something we can understand. Kant believed that's how we gain knowledge of the world. There's stuff outside of us, no question. An external world, physical external world exists. He's with Hume, he's with Locke on that. But my senses do not clearly give me an accurate representation of the world. In other words, my idea of the world is a product of this translation. So my senses are not entirely accurate. So the process data is our ideas, or what we know. We know our ideas. We know the process data. Okay? This is the world of the phenomena. Okay? The world of our ideas is the world of the phenomena. We know that. The external world is the world of the Noumena. We cannot know that the external world, the world of the Noumena, looks just like we see it, quote unquote, see it in the world of the phenomena. Let me give you another example to see if I can't help solidify things for you. Consider different animals and what we know about how they see the world. We know that cats and dogs see and hear things. You know, cats and dogs hear things better than we do. Cats see very well at night. Some dogs do. They all smell things better than we can, right? Bats see the world through echolocation. So presumably they don't see colors. They see what bounces off with their sonar. All of these different animals, and we're included in that, have different ideas of the world based on the information that they gather through interacting with it. The bat's idea of the world is different from the dog's idea of the world, which is different from the cat's idea of the world, which is different from our idea of the world. It seems like hubris to presume that our idea is the correct one, right? Especially when we know there are things out there that our senses don't pick up. The frequencies that are too high for our ears to hear, like the dog whistle that the dog can hear, infrared light that we can't see. We know that there are things out there that our brains can't process. Our organs, our sensory organs don't pick up, our brains can't process. Now, that's not to say our idea of the world is incredibly inaccurate, because it's not. We move around with a fair amount of success. I can walk through a room and not run into things. So there is a level of accuracy to our ideas of the world. If my idea of the world was terribly inaccurate, then when I walk through a room, I'd be bumping into invisible stuff all the time. Kant does not want to say that we have a drastically wrong idea of the world. We just can't be certain that the tree exists in just the way we picture it in our minds. Our senses may not give us everything exactly the way it's supposed to be. But at the same time, we have to use our senses to gain any information about the world. Does that make sense? Kantian synthesis is complicated, so please, please, please consider starting the video again and listening to it again.